Hi everyone, back for a Thread Thursday, and I thought I'd try and finish these three so we've finished this ring. So hopefully I'll do a better job than I did last week with the detached buttonhole stitch. This is turkey rug stitch. Now Kathy just drew a triangle, but I've put a couple of little dots so I can help with this instruction. So if you imagine on the corner of your triangle, so if you've got an open weave, you're going to be a lot better, and obviously you can go and watch Kathy doing this, but you're coming into the middle dot here from the top to the back, and then you're leaving this, and you're coming up in the corner, and you're leaving a loop. Here we go with the loop-de-loops again. And then the third dot along. Now you're not pulling all of that just yet. Not pulling it all the way through. And you're coming up here into that one that you did, and then pulling it through. Alright, so we've got our little loop. We're coming down into the second one from that 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're coming down into there. And we're coming back in the hole that we came for that little loop. So the third dot along it would be. Then the fourth, fifth, so on the other side of that one. And then we're going to come up in that place there where this part of the coil is. Now you can hold those, pull that through. So the same goes about one spot over, leaving a loop. So from what Kathy's saying, it's a bit like the velvet stitch, but it's I think she's saying it's a bit longer. So coming over here one spot, and then back where that end of the loop is. Oops. And now that we've finished the first row, we're going to cut the thread and have a tail. So that's one whole row, and we can cut the loops. It's like a pile of, it's a carpet pile really, isn't it? And then we start the next row. I'm actually thinking I might alternate some colours in here. I wanted to pick something that didn't clash too much with those, but now I'm just thinking wouldn't mind a little bit of diversity. Alright, let's do that. That's a good idea. Keep that one for another row. Now I'm using the full strand of 6 for that, so this is a 2 strand here on this that's wound on. Let's get to the six strands. Okay, so we're going to do similar. We're just going to start at the spot that would be the second dot here. Create a tail. Try and keep it, I'm going to try and keep them about the same length, although I have to say they're a bit uneven. To the left of that. Leave a loop up there above it. To the right. And then back where that initial one went in. And so that's the pattern. That's the pattern we have. We're creating a loop coming in the middle. Back at the previous right stitch. Leaving this above it. Okay, and that's the second row. You can decide to snip those loops or not. So, what colour? The gold. So I think I'll alternate the brown, the green and the gold in a couple of rows. Why not? So, same process. That one got a bit mussed up. Coming in where you imagine a second dot would be. So even though I find that these are a bit wide apart, what I'm noticing watching Kathy is that hers are, the closer the rows are, it kind of makes up for it. Okay, on to the third row. Now I am doing this right-handed. I guess probably left-handed. You would start it on the right side and work your way this way, but this is how I started it, so this is what I'm doing. And, give a little space, make a loop, come in on that one, the end of the last stitch. That's the end of the third row, snipping that off. And we're back to the brown. Right, I've done everything. I'm up to this very last little one. go. So if you hadn't cut the little loops already, that's what you would do now. Now it's up to you to work out how long do you want the strands to be. I'm not sure. I'm thinking I should try for this shortest, match up that shortest strand maybe first, and then see what I think. Now I can see that this would have all sorts of different uses. See, I think that's really, for this stitch wheel, probably a little bit too long, but I could see that it would be really good for maybe a little boy's hair or something like that. So I'm going to opt for it to be a bit shorter with my superior hairdressing skills. Not really. I did cut my kids' hair when they were younger. Not too much though. It was better for the hairdresser to do it. So I can see that it's just going to want to lie flat down like that, which might impinge on these next little sections. So do I want it shorter? Maybe. Okay, maybe not as short as the velvet stitch. I like that. You know, looking at it from this angle, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, you know, like on the rocks, coral. Alright, well that's turkey rug stitch. Okay, next stitch, raised cup stitch. Now I'm going to attempt this left-handed because I think it's going to be a little bit easier. And Kathy says not to use a stranded thread. So I'm just using a, not even sure what it is. It's probably thinner than she's suggesting. But we're doing a little triangle. Then we're coming, as a left-hander, we're coming up bottom left corner. Now if you were right-handed, you'd probably come up bottom right. Now it's going under, then looping around to create a little knot. Same again, under. Now let me check. There. So there's two little knots, and then you're going to move it and do the same at each of these. So two for each, so there'll be 6. And it's creating a little stitch between. and an embroidery needle, of course, but I'm just not using an embroidery needle. I actually think I need to probably get a whole range of embroidery needles. Okay, so now I've gone round, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to come into that little stitch that's been made there. Oh, can't see a thing, of course. I should have probably used just a really thick wool. Next little knot. Same again. So I can see it's just sort of in the gaps with it going like that. Well, it is like a little cup. Don't know, I think it still makes the same sort of a knot. And obviously you have to keep count because I don't know where I'm up to. And then you can either come down there or come down in the middle. All right, so I think what I might try is another one. And I mean, it's quite interesting actually. It's like a sort of a sea anemone or something. I might try it with a thicker thread and a bit bigger and see if I can really master it. Right, let's try again. Got a thicker thread and just maybe slightly bigger triangle. Oh, my thread's a bit long. What sort of triangle is that? A wonky wobbly one. Right, coming up on the left. Now, under, over, under. That's the pattern. Over, under. Right, so that's one. Under, over, under. Two for that side. Under, over, under. Under, over, under. That's four, I think, is it? Yep. Under, over, under. Five. Six. So we're going to do the second row. It's a bit wobbly there. Under, over, under. One. Two. Three. Under, over, under. Four. Five. quite an interesting stitch. I could see lots of ways that it would be. I think I'd like to do a really, really big one. Alright, I'm going to try and find some even thicker thread and do an even bigger one. Right, I've got wool. Now Kathy does say that it's quite difficult to see, and I was just thinking it was me without my glasses, but let's just have a go at this. I've got a wider eye needle, and it's not actually that way. It's not a embroidery needle either. It's got a point, but you know what? We're working with what we got. Now I can imagine if you were doing this on a big work that you could do another layer or so. And Kathy's talking about you could do a little French knot in the middle of that. That's an instant flower really then, isn't it? Alright, let's have a go at this. So the whole idea wasn't to use anything stranded because you just have trouble splitting the stitches, but you know, I'm using wool, that's fairly stranded. Right, under, over, under, pull it through. Under, over, under, pull it through. Now, I am going to assume that now it's a bit bigger and I can see it. That's the stitch, that's where you go for the next stitch. Once you've got round, under, over, under. Oh, the cat's started. Shouldn't have let her in. She was sleeping outside. It was a bit of a mistake. Two more on this. Alright, so we're going to get this. Now, before or after? I thought Kathy went in after. I feel like that's one there. Alright, so one. Come on. Oh, already messed it up. I think I might have split the stitch or something. Oh, no, that's better. Little bits of thread from before in between. Over, under. It's quite chunky with the wool. That's two. Is that? Or was that four? 3 or 4? I really don't know. Alright, so it's a fiddly little stitch, let's face it. Don't know. Let's just see what it looks like if we do that one. Yeah, I think I've started another row. I'm going to put that there in the middle, see how it looks. Alright, it's not as perfect as it could be, but it's not terrible. It could have a little... Alright, let's do that. Just thinking what it could have in it. Totally improvising here. Decided to put a bead in the middle. because why not? Because we can. Just thought, this might be difficult. The bead probably won't go through this. Oh, goodness me. Every time. Too many bits of rubbish on my desk. I'm just thinking, these little cute beads made out of gemstones. I'm just thinking this probably won't go through. No. However, what if I do this? See if that works. Because the wool will flatten down. Ha ha ha. There we go. That worked. Now we'll just thread this needle back. And let's just secure that like that. There we are. That one's got a bead in it. And what about a little bit of this? It's nice and opposite the same one there. Let's see what happens if we do a French knot in the middle of that one. 2, 3, 4, 5. Make it a reasonably big one. Well, you can't see it a lot, but you can see it a little bit. That's a good little flower, isn't it? Okay, so that's a thing I might use. There you are. Always happens. I have a go at something, learn something new, and then go, ooh, I'm going to put that on my large embroidery. There we go. All right, so that's raised cup stitch. Definitely requires the correct weight of thread with the correct backing with whatever is going on around. But I don't mind it. It's fascinating. What a fascinating stitch. All right, the next stitch is Bokhara Couching. Bakhara Couching. And we've got a little basket here. Because it's one of those ones where you couch, but then you're laying a stitch backwards and forwards and couching over these lines to create a basket look. I think I'll use something that's not a split type of stitch, so something like that. So Kathy has said have a line, make sure the bottom's not too rounded. And couching. From under to over. And now we're just going to keep coming up, laying it across. Then we're going to be going between those two. All right, I'm going to need a magnifying glass. I'm couching down that one. course, as we get up the sides, we'll start to couch over these lines too. So I wonder why it's called Bakhara Couching. I might have to do a little research. I think I'll start couching this one here. This is not as nice as I would like it down there, and clearly this can be started now. So, cute little basket. Definitely think, yeah, closer together, I reckon. I'm not doing them as close as I should. Still, you can see that it's a little basket. Hope everyone went over and had a look at that little bag making embroidery last week, because that was pretty good. Now I've got a little bit of an issue with this because clearly it's not up, it's rounded. So I'm thinking, even though I love it, I think it's a very cute little basket, I'm thinking I'm just going to come up a bit further and it's just going to be a bit higher than I was expecting it and a little bit more rounded. Of course, at the start, where I noticed one of the things Kathy did was use the water-soluble embroidery pen. So I've seen at the end she just squirts with a water bottle and it all disappears, whereas I've been using a pen that's the heat rubbing one. So you've got to actually use it like an eraser to get it off, which didn't help. There's more things we learn, really. Okay. So here we go. All right, we've finished. We've finished a row. Now, let me cast that off. Now, what I'm going to do is undo my hoop. Yeah, so here, remember the lines? It's a bit unfortunate. So, here we have it. And like I say, I did make it a little bit bigger. I enlarged it. So it's a little bit bigger than Kathy's. Oh, all the textures. Oh, how fun. All right. What else can we do for Thread Thursday? Well, that was a little bit big because that was 3 stitches. Just thought I'd come back in at the very end after all those stitches, and this was one of the very first ever Suffolk puffs that I made, so I'm going to put that on, but I also have these two antique ones. I got a packet of antique Suffolk puffs from Thematic, and I'm going to put these on here. I think I'll layer them a bit, something like that. And it's kind of nice because I'm always going to remember that I made this one. So there's lots of varieties of things here. It's got a very wide mouth there. I might put something in it. Let's just get them down first. Here we go. I'm going to try and do tiny little stitches to tack it down. So it's Tuesday while I'm filming this, and Thursday will be the announcement that our lockdown is definitely going longer. So that's what's happening in Melbourne today, and everything's settled down here, and we've all worked out a routine where there's no more than one person or two people maximum in each other's space here. I visit Lily, so there's only two of us. Huss visits me when the flatmate's out at work. And then when flatmate's here, we avoid each other because I'm upstairs and she's downstairs. That way, we're all minimising the risk. Huss just had his second vaccine yesterday, so he's doing well. Didn't notice a thing, he said. That's good. Got a lovely preempting spring tomorrow day here. Spring winds have started, but that's all right. Just noticed on this, look at these tiny little pinwheels. Aren't they cute? I might actually echo those on here. I was going to just do flowers, and now I'm seeing this. You know, it's a bit like flowers, these Suffolk puffs, aren't they? A little bit. Anyway, let's get these down. Bit of gold thread. Just finishing up getting this down. Very windy here. I've got the window open because it's beautiful, so hope it's not too loud. Close that off. Now let's have a look. Now that I'm looking at it, I really love this little bit, and I wish I could recreate that. So it's like a pinwheel stitch. I'll probably do that. What about this? Already threaded, ready to go. It's a bit thick. Maybe it might be a bit too much. I definitely feel like I'd like something in the middle of here, possibly maybe a bead or something. Don't know. I don't think I haven't got a lot of huge beads. A couple of French knots in there. A bit hidden maybe. Maybe some turkey stitch would have been good. Big fluffy centre. Alright, let's see how it looks. This last one through. Just adding a little bit of pink to blend in these, and this has got a sort of an orange, it's a reddy orange, which just blends in with this. So what else I'm thinking? Maybe a crystal stitch. Let's have a look how it looks. If it doesn't look good, we can take it out. I like it. I think it kind of, maybe it brings it into the background a little bit more. Links it down in. One more longish one, I think, to link down towards the type. Okay. Let's look. Sure is growing. Alright, I might come up with a button for there, but I'll have a look later. Definitely going to not make a spontaneous decision about this, but have a little think. I think this one's alright on its own, but that little hole, definitely will have to go through all my buttons. Okay, that's it. That's it for Thread Thursday, and see you very soon. Thanks for watching. I hope everyone is staying well. Lots of love and hugs, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.